I'm going to start with is this lime basil. Now, all this has been washed, but I am going to be washing the carrots a little bit more thoroughly just because I really have to scrub them to get them clean. So because I have so much basil, I'm actually going to gather it together into little pods here, and I am actually going to hang this up to dry. I don't really have room in my dehydrator for this much basil, so we're going to be doing it a little bit different way than usual. This is that wonderful lime basil, and oh my gosh, this is probably, I thought there couldn't be anything better than Thai basil, but I'm not kidding. Oh, this stuff has the most amazing scent. Just no words to describe it. So I'm going to make a couple of these, and I'm going to show you how I tie them up and what I do with them. And I still have a ton of it out in my garden. I want to let some of it go to seed because it's just wonderful. I just love this stuff. All right, so let me tie this up, and then I am going to go put this over on my swing so it can dry. It's very dry here in Southern California. It's also very hot. So this stuff should dehydrate pretty quickly. So right now I'm hanging these different bunches of this lime basil out on my swing. I have a little swing that I have under my patio, and it just works absolutely perfect for hanging this basil. It's nice and dry out. I actually have a patio cover there, and it just keeps the basil protected. It gets lots of fresh air, and within just a couple of days that basil is going to be nice and dry, and then you'll see what I'm going to do with it in another video. But this is the best way to preserve basil when you have a lot of it. When I have a small amount or even a medium amount, sometimes I'll dehydrate it in my oven. I usually use my dehydrator for small amounts, but when I have large amounts, I usually dehydrate them out here on my swing, and it works terrific. Here are the 3 bunches. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm filling up my sink with water, and I really want to make sure that I can get all the dirt out of these little crevices of these carrots. I'm going to have these tonight for dinner. So I'm going to have to use a little scrub brush, and it works really good. So like I said, these have already been washed once, but carrots are one of those things, you pull them out of the ground and they just have dirt kind of embedded in them. And I like to eat the skins. I just think they're really good for you. So I try to get them a little bit cleaner. I leave the root on, and that's kind of what I hold on to when I'm trying to clean my carrots. These aren't real big. These are the Danvers carrots and some of these shorter carrots. And I like them small. I just think they're more tender and more sweet. So this is my preferred way to eat my carrots. And I'm going to have these, like I said, tonight for dinner. They're going to be super good. I just don't want to eat dirt. Now, we're always going to eat a little dirt when we're eating things out of the ground. It's just the way it is. As careful as we are, I mean, sometimes you can't get everything off of all the vegetables, but you should try. And I usually try to put a little bit of vinegar in my first soak. It just helps get some of the microorganisms, if not off, at least kind of cleaned up a little bit. All right. These are already looking a lot better than they did. At this time, I kind of break off these little residual roots that are on the carrots. Like I said, I prefer not to peel them unless they're in the store. Then I always peel them because, you know, they use different kinds of insecticides and different things. So I just try my best to stay away from all that as much as possible. Even if I have to share some of my bounty with the animals or the bugs, I'd rather do that than eat pesticides. All right. So all I'm gonna do now is just cut these little roots. If there's any of these little green tops, I usually leave those on while I'm cooking. I don't know why. I don't know why I do a lot of the things I do, but that's what I do. Now, if you have carrots that are real rooty, of course you're gonna wanna probably peel them, but a lot of the nutrients are in the peelings. They're in the skins of different types of fruits and vegetables. So as much as I can, I try to leave them on. All right, I'm just gonna put a little bit of plastic over these, and these are ready to be steamed for dinner. So the next thing I've done is I've re-washed my rhubarb. Now it's already had the leaves and the bottom stalks cut off, but there were still little pieces of stuff on them. It wasn't a real good washing. So because I'm gonna be freezing this rhubarb, I wanna make sure that I'm able to get the best quality product available. And these are beautiful stalks. I don't have a lot of red in my rhubarb. These are more the green rhubarbs. It's kind of funny. Sometimes the water will make it kind of pull back. I don't really care because I chop it into little pieces anyway. But we're just gonna let this dry, and then I'll show you how I package it up so that I can eat it at a later date. Now, my tomatoes and my peppers, I'm actually gonna put those over on the table. I kind of like to let them keep ripening. So the next thing I'm gonna be doing is using my little grating machine here to grate up this zucchini. Now, I have quite a bit, so I really don't wanna sit here and do this by hand. So it's really easy in the machine. All you do is cut your zucchini into little pieces like this. And then you just run it through the machine. Makes it go super, super, super fast. So I'm gonna work on this a little bit, and then I will show you how it all comes out as soon as it's done. And the reason I like to do this is because I like to freeze a lot of my zucchini. And the reason I do that is because I can kind of pre-measure the packets, and then when it's time to to bake something or throw something in a soup or something like that, I have lots of zucchini on hand. So this is the quick and down and dirty way that I do my zucchini. It just comes out perfect. And see how much faster this is than a hand grater? I mean, all this zucchini, this would take me a while. So, all right. So that's one zucchini. So all I'm gonna do at this point is take my zucchini and I'm gonna measure it and put it into pre-measured bags. This is super easy. I usually just write down like a cup or a cup and a half. This one's gonna have 2 cups. Zucchini. And I don't care if it accumulates a lot of water or not. When I thaw it out, I'm gonna drain the water off anyway, so it really isn't gonna matter. And I pack this in pretty tight. I wanna make sure that I get enough zucchini for a recipe. So this is 1 cup of zucchini. I'll put this in this bag. And I usually do enough for a few recipes that I can make zucchini bread or what have you throughout the year. And then the rest of it, I go ahead and put into other types of things. Quiches, soups, just all kinds of things. Okay, so here's 1 cup. You see, this isn't exact science. It's a messy process, but somebody's got to do it. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more in here. Just make sure I have enough in that 1 cup. I think some of it did spill out. Okay, I'm going to put another one. And I still have several zucchinis that are on the vine. I don't know, I don't usually get this much zucchini, but I don't know, this year I did for some reason. Why, I don't know. All right. Now, a lot of times I'll use this little tool to grate my cheese as well, and it works out really good. I use it a lot. But stuff like zucchini, this is easy. Now the way I get the air out of my bags is that I close them, almost close them, and then I kind of push everything down in the bottom of the bag and I just roll them. This pretty much rolls all the air out of my bag. And then I just seal them. So as you can see, these are gonna stay nice. I kind of lay them flat so there's more room to put things in the freezer. Let me do one more. Now this is a 2-cup bag right here. I'm going to close it almost to the end. I'm going to just roll it the best I can. Try to get that air out. And then I'll close the seal. And that works really good for me. These will last me a good year in the freezer because of the fact I've got all the air out of the bags. Go, 4 bags of zucchini ready for the freezer. So the last thing that I'm going to be doing from my processing my garden is I'm going to be cutting up and freezing my rhubarb. And same thing, I'm going to measure them out and then I will freeze them. Rhubarb's one of those things you don't really have to blanch it. I mean, the main thing you're going to use it for are things that have to be cooked anyway, just because of the sourness and the acidity of it. So I've found that just freezing it whole, as long as you have the air out, it just works fine. And I use these little food saver bags to get all of the air out of these. Now this is 724 rhubarb. I'm going to put 2 cups. All right, so there's 1. 2. All right, there's my first one. And I'm gonna kind of flatten it out a little bit. And let me show you how it looks when I run it through the food saver. There you go, all ready for the freezer. So let me go ahead and put together some of this rhubarb. And then whatever I don't freeze in these bags, I'm gonna put on a cookie sheet, and I'll freeze them individually, kind of like flash freezing. And then I'll have those for whatever I'm making, if I wanna just have some rhubarb for dinner or what have you. These are just the beginning of my tomatoes and a couple peppers. They've just started ripening, so I will be enjoying them over the next month or so, and I have lots of things that I'll be canning with them. Thank you for joining me while we processed all of our vegetables from the garden this morning. It was a lot of fun, and it will be a huge savings to my grocery bill in months to come. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring the bell for future notifications. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.